धीमहि यन्नः सत्येन दीपयेत् सत्येन दीपयेत् ॐ तत्सवितुर्वरं रूपं ज्योतिः परस्य धीमहि यन्नः सत्येन दीपयेत् सत्येन दीपयेत्।
So, good evening and good morning. Welcome to Sri Aurobindo and Mother's Study Circle, where we are reading passages from a compilation by Dr. S Dalal called Looking from Within. I think just the name of the book also is very reflective and indicative, and we can begin, right, with just questioning when I'm looking, when I'm reacting, when I'm acting, whether I'm looking from within or is it just a superficial movement that I am reacting to and I am reacting with. So starting with an aspiration of being flexible, supple, asking for grace to be able to receive so that I can expand, so that I can take in what I read, what I need to take in from my reading, from my experiences, from my reflections, so that my life can change for the better, for the higher, for the truer. Thank you. So we were on page 60, chapter 2, Looking from Within. I think the title was Action and Work. So we have read section 1 and we were on chapter, we have read 2 pages of section 2, Choice of Work. So we are supposed to begin from here. So just, I think maybe we can start from here and see if it doesn't make sense, we just take a overlap. Otherwise, anybody who's willing to read, if anybody, otherwise I'll go, starting from those who freely.
Yeah, Taru, I'll read.
Thank you.
Those who freely set out to accomplish their own favorite work cannot, in my opinion, be on the wrong track. I'll read it one more time. Those who freely set out to accomplish their own favorite work cannot, in my opinion, be on the wrong track. This work must surely be the expression of their own particular tendency. By their mistake lies in wanting to accomplish this work all at once in its entirely, in its integrality,
Entirety.
in depth, integrality, in depth, and above all on the surface, forgetting that the very conception of the work is imperfect as they are imperfect, and that to be wise, they should add to the knowledge of what they wish to do the more immediate and practical knowledge of what they are capable of doing at the present moment. I think, Taru, this looks a bit complicated. I'll read it one more time if don't mind.
Yeah, please. We had done it last time too. So this was also an overlap, but feel free to read it. You can read slowly. That helps in even grasping it more.
Yeah. Those who freely set out to accomplish their own favorite work cannot, in my opinion, be on the wrong track. This work must surely be the expression of their own particular tendency. But their mistake lies in wanting to accomplish this work all at once in its entirety. Yeah? What is that? It should be
Yeah, you
entirely.
said it right. Entirety. Yeah.
Yeah, entirety. Okay. In its integrality, in depth, and above all, on the surface, forgetting that the very conception of the work is imperfect as they are imperfect, and that is to be wise, they should add to the knowledge of what they wish to the what they wish to do, the more immediate and practical knowledge of what they are capable of doing at the present moment. By taking both these factors into account, they can employ themselves with a minimum waste of time and energy. But few people act with so much insight and wisdom. And it very often happens that one who is seeking his way falls into one of these two possible errors. Either he takes his desires for realities, that is, he overestimates his present strength and capacity and imagines that he is capable of immediately assuming a place and a role which he can honorably fulfill only after many years or methodical and persevering effort. Persevering effort, or he underestimates his latent powers and deliberately confines himself in spite of his deeper aspirations to a task which is far beneath his abilities and which will gradually extinguish within him and light that could have shone for others. It seems difficult at first to steer clear of these pitfalls and find the balanced way, the middle way. But we have a sure pointer to guide us. Above all, whatever we undertake should not be done for the purpose of self assertion. If we are, sorry, just that word I want to read. If we are attached to fame and glory, to the esteem of our peers, we are soon led to make concessions to them. And if we seek any opportunity to admire ourselves, it becomes easy to make ourselves out to be what we are not, and nothing more obscures the ideal within us. We should, shall I stop? I'll continue.
Yeah, I think we should stop. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So, Taru, if you don't mind, can you just give me the first paragraph? I didn't understand fully. Can you help me to understand?
Yeah.
Thank
so,
you.
Basically, the first paragraph, if we read this, what we have just read, that makes more sense. But basically, what, mother is saying here is that, and, even before that, there was this thing that, how we have read that till you find, say, your purpose on earth, or till you find the work that you're here to do, you do everything, right, as if you're doing it for the mother. So that has to be there, right? That surrender or that offering has to be there. So she's saying that those who freely set out to accomplish their own favorite work, right? Like till we don't know, we choose according to our preferences or what we have to do. So mother starts by saying that if you are doing something that you resonate with, so in her opinion, you can't be on the wrong track But a lot of times, how she said that then it's like, say, you start, I don't know, say taking sessions, right? You resonate with that. But slowly, 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 one could feel that, oh, how many viewers do I have? How many participants do I have? How many people know about me? And then you get into the marketing and you get into the spreading, you get into, your images. How do I want to portray myself? So in all that you feel is the right thing to do, the reason why you began in the first place, that you felt, say, mother's love and you wanted to spread it, you want everybody to feel the love that you felt, for example, that gets lost, right? Because you just want to, you feel, okay, this is what I want to do and I want to do it to the maximum possible. So then, because I right now am not a purified vessel, for example, I'm not, so it's like, if I'm spreading, I will not be spreading that very effectively. I can let it, and this could be an absolutely wrong example or comprehension, but that's just what it's coming to me, that here mother is saying that the mistake lies in wanting to accomplish this work all at once in its entirety, because the preface was that till you find what you're here to do, you do what you like to do, what you have to do, and do it as if you're doing it for the divine. But if I take this to be my everything, she's saying that there often people make mistakes. And this is, I think, where we get more light on this, that some people overdo it, some people underdo it, right? There was this thing, right? That either he takes his desires for reality. So if you are doing what you are liking, that's a desire, right? So at least you are happy doing it. You can do it to the best of your capability. But when we start taking this to an extreme, so that is I taking my desire for reality. So I overestimate what I need to do, the present strength and capacities, and imagines that he is capable of immediately assuming a place and a role which he can honorably fulfill only after many years. Right? So I'm not ready and I have basically arrived. So then there's a very high chance of falling. Or the second part was that I underestimate. Right? Either people are overconfident or they are underconfident. Either they are insecure or they are too arrogant. So both these things, mother says, are pitfalls. So this is what it is being said, and the language surprising, basically a little bit confusing, because here here it is said that they cannot be wrong, and but here it's saying that the mistake lies in wanting to accomplish it in its entirety. So that's the essence. That take it, do it, do here where she says that get the practical knowledge of the next step, right? So the very conception of the work is imperfect as they are imperfect. And that to be wise, they should add to the knowledge of what they wish to do, the more immediate and practical knowledge of what they are capable of doing at the present moment. So that's, I don't know if that I further confused you or that was able to make some sense.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So when you connected with the next paragraph, he takes desires for realities, it is becoming clear.
Yeah, good.
The rest is, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. We read this very often, and in synthesis of yoga, and even in today's session, the heroic heart, like for some yesterdays, for some today, how it was said, like the video that we were hearing of Jetsun Mala, how she was talking about wisdom, how she was talking about brain, that it is your wisdom mind or it is the desire mind, the craving mind. So similarly, knowing that distinguish, in synthesis of yoga, I was saying that again, there is, Sri Aurobindo talks about it, how buddhi It looks like an Aadhaar, it looks like, the Pratishta, the support. And yet, because its base lies in ignorance and its center of operation is often egoistic, it leads us astray. So when I have seen this, how my decisions, my so-called perfect decisions or desires in life have led me astray, have not taken me where I wanted to go, or have, stumped me, then one can start doubting what one is thinking, and one, kind of offers and remembers the divine more and more, that, this is what I am thinking, but, I'm offering it at your feet, and may the best happen, may, it only happen if it is good for me. So something like this. So anything that I'm doing, once I know that my brain right now cannot be trusted, my intelligence gives me, a dhobi patka or can. So then one takes it also with a pinch of salt. Of course, you have to do something you want, an aim, a thing, a goal, ambition, things one is working toward, and yet never forgetting that, praying for that guidance towards what is the best. So pausing for any reflection before moving ahead, any concern, question, sharing.
Yeah, that point I think of the, you know, and I think the other day we were talking about doership, so I think the example you gave about the, like even like you may be thinking you're doing mother's work, but still there is an underlying desire that, oh, I want this to be known, or I want, as you I think indicated, right, more people. And it's they refer to it as like the sattvic ego. It is actually, I feel personally, it's equally dangerous. Of course, even I think your mother is talking about like, for work also, we get attached. And somewhere else she says, whatever work you're given, if you should do it in that spirit, that if it is taken away from you at any time, you can give it up without any, attachment whatsoever. And a very high bar, that is such a high bar for us. So I think, we all see, that we get very attached to the work. Even if it is work we are doing, say, for like this, or, at the center or whatever, right? There is that sense that, again, in some way, the ego wants to have that feeling that, it is being recognized. So very subtle, but it is there.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. But we get astray very fast, right? Like we usually start from a good center, the right center, and then, as we say, life happens. And then before we realize it, we are somewhere else, doing it for the absolutely wrong reasons. There's this beautiful quote from Sri Aurobindo. I'm paraphrasing it, I don't remember it exactly. And I've shared it before. He said something like that, anything that you do, no matter how generous, or you're working for, I don't know, whatever, but if there is what's in it for me, if you have that thing, that if there is any amount of self-interest or self-gain in it, then it will not lead to your purity. So that when I first heard it a few years back, it was pretty strong for me that, oh my God, like there has to be nothing in it for you, like absolutely, because usually, we keep something in it for us, something, a little bit. Okay, not power, not money, not this, not that, and but maybe this, maybe that. So to give it fully, and he said it like, without if or but, that it would not lead to your purity. Yeah, so I guess we can move forward. So, my mother says, few people act with so much insight and wisdom, and it very often happens that one who is seeking his way falls into two possible errors. As we were reading, either he takes his desires for reality, that is, he overestimates his present strength and capacity and imagines that he is capable of immediately assuming a place and a role which he can honorably fulfill only after many years of methodical and persevering effort, or he underestimates his latent powers and deliberately confines himself, right? That not possible for me, I'm good for nothing. Again, both egos. So, in spite of his deeper aspirations to a task which is far beneath his abilities and which will gradually extinguish within him the light that could have shone for others. So both, mother says, are errors in which a lot of us fall. So it seems difficult at first to steer clear of these pitfalls and find a balanced way, the middle way, but we have a sure pointer to guide us. Above all, whatever we undertake should not be done for the purpose of self-assertion, right? I think that is also what was Sri Aurobindo's quote pointing at. So if we are attached to fame and glory, to the esteem of our peers, we are soon led to make concessions to them. Whenever, even like professionally, personally, if I have that, okay, this is what I'm getting from this person, this relationship, this title, this whatever, I will be their slave, right? I will change my ways, I'll change my tone, I will not say things that would hurt them, even if they are true, because I'm getting something, I'm scared of something. So, whenever we are attached, whenever there is something in it for me, some greed is hidden, I cannot be truth, I cannot live in truth. So, if we are attached to fame and glory, to the esteem of our peers, we are soon led to make concessions to them. And if we seek any opportunity to admire ourselves, it becomes easy to make ourselves out to be what we are not, and nothing more obscures the idol within us. So I myself, starts obscuring the ideal within me when I feel, oh, I'm too good, man. All is good, mera ho gaya. So, or the other, right? So yeah, so we can take that further and see what else mother is saying. So if anybody is willing, they can read from here. Yeah, thank you, Ritu.
We should never tell ourselves openly or indirectly, I want to be great. What vocation can I find for myself in order to become great? On the contrary, we should tell ourselves, there must certainly be something I can do better than anyone else, since each one of us is a special mode of manifestation of the divine power, which in its essence is one in all. However humble and modest it may be, this is precisely the thing to which I should devote myself, and in order to find it, I shall observe and analyze my tastes, tendencies, and preferences, and I shall do it without pride or excessive humility. Whatever others may think, I shall do it just as I breathe, just as the flower smells sweet, quite simply, quite naturally, because I cannot do otherwise. As soon as we have abolished within us, even for a moment, all egoistic desires, all personal and selfish aims, we can surrender to this inner spontaneity, this deep inspiration which will enable us to commune with the living and progressive forces of the universe. The conception of our work will inevitably grow more perfect as we grow more perfect ourselves. And to realize this growing perfection, no matter, no effort to exceed ourselves should be neglected. But the work we perform must become always more and more joyful and spontaneous, like water welling from a pure spring. Mother.
Thank you. You know, this is so contrary to how we usually do things and how we, how we basically, I've heard so many people, when they are advising the youth going to colleges or choosing what track they want to take, what subjects they want to take in school or colleges. It's not about what they even like. It's just about what is selling, right? Oh my God, there's so many jobs for that, or that is so highly paid, or that is so much in demand. So choose that, do that. So the whole life would be devoted to that because it pays me more. And here, Mother is saying we should never tell ourselves openly or indirectly, I want to be great. What vocation can I find for myself in order to become great? So then that is, you are already this and you want to be bigger and bigger and bigger. So, on the contrary, she says we should tell ourselves there must certainly be something I can do better than anyone else, since each one of us is a special mode of manifestation of the divine power. So, even if I'm doing something good, there's nothing of me in it. That aspect of the divine is manifesting through me. So, which in its essence is one in all. So divine is one and all, and we are all doing things, and something I'm good at, something the other is good at. So, however humble and modest it may be, this is precisely the thing to which I should devote myself. And in order to find it, I shall observe and analyze my tastes, tendencies, and preferences. So, I should observe and analyze. So not just just go directly for preferences and desires and pleasures before devoting myself to it. In order to find it, I shall observe and analyze my tastes, tendencies, and preferences, and I shall do it without pride or excessive humility. Because both, like when I am, say, arrogant or if I am too humble, if I am saying, oh, I am it, I am, amazing, or I am nothing, both is ego. We have seen that again and again. So, whatever others may think, I shall do it just as I breathe, just as the flower smells sweet, quite simply, quite naturally, because I cannot do otherwise. That even sounds so beautiful, and it feels that if one is there, one would hopefully may have a less chance of slipping if I can remind myself of this approach again and again. Just taking it up further. Ritu, do you want to say something? I don't know if you're unmuted to say I'm sorry. Okay.
No.
So as soon as we have abolished within us, even for a moment, all egoistic desires, all personal and selfish aims, we can surrender to this inner spontaneity, this deep inspiration, which will enable us to commune with the living and progressive forces of the universe. Just give me a sorry. So as soon as we have abolished within us, even for a moment, all egoistic desires, all personal and selfish aims, we can surrender to this inner spontaneity, this deep inspiration, which will enable us to commune with the living and progressive forces of the universe. The conception of our work will inevitably grow more perfect as we grow more perfect ourselves. So, again, we are led by reason, and this is a very reasonable thing that the conception of our work will inevitably grow more perfect as we grow more perfect ourselves. And to realize this growing perfection, no effort to exceed ourselves should be neglected, but the work we perform must become always more and more joyful and spontaneous, like water welling from a pure spring. Again and again, it's we are being pointed towards what's more natural, what's more, kind of, how it, she's saying that how a water is welling from a pure spring. What can be more natural than that? How mother says, do good, be good for the sake of goodness and not because you're getting that or it's moral or it's ethical or you will be rewarded or people will say, oh, wow. And it's beautiful again to hear that the conception of our work will inevitably grow more perfect as we grow more perfect ourselves. And this is tying up with what we had read, how we had started, where she was saying that it takes time. One has to, hone their skills, become better. He didn't say hone the skills, but hone who we are and be, you have to be prepared. You have to be cooked, properly. No effort to exceed ourselves should be neglected, but the work we perform must become always more and more joyful and spontaneous. This again, it kind of is indicative, right? That it's a right step, it's a right work. So as it becomes more and more joyful and spontaneous, like water welling from a pure spring, the mother. So anything on this? So we can move forward. So the next passage, a small one, is from Sri Aurobindo. So if anybody is willing, they can read.
There is no need for you to change the line of life and work you have chosen so long as you feel that to be the way of your nature, swabhav, or dictated to you by your inner being, or for some reason it is seen to be your proper dharma. These are the three tests, and apart from that, I do not know if there is any fixed line of conduct or way of work or life that can be laid down for the yoga of the Gita. It is the spirit or consciousness in which the work is done that matters most. The outer form can vary greatly for different natures. I'll read it again. There is no need for you to change the line of life and work you have chosen so long as you feel that to be the way of your nature, swabhav, or dictated to you by your inner being, or for some reason it is seen to be your proper dharma. These are the three tests, and apart from that, I do not know if there is any fixed line of conduct or way of work or life that can be laid down for the yoga of the Gita. It is the spirit of consciousness in which the work is done that matters most. The outer form can vary greatly for different natures. Sri Aurobindo.
Thank you. The three things he has said is you feel that to be the way of your nature, like the thing that you have chosen, that is the way of your nature, or it is dictated to you by your inner being, or for some reason it is seen to be your proper dharma. So, according to him, these are the three ways, three tests that tell us that what is the work you should be doing if you are on the path of yoga. Otherwise, of course, you can do anything, it doesn't matter. So it is the spirit or consciousness in which the work is done that matters most. So it doesn't matter what you do. This is where a lot of us get stuck with again our images and illusions of this is good, this is bad, this is high, this is low. And there's that beautiful proverb, that quote, right? That before enlightenment, what is it? I don't know, chop woods and I don't know, eat a sandwich, and after enlightenment, chop wood and eat a sandwich. I'm just paraphrasing that nothing changes. It is the spirit or consciousness in which the work is done that matters most. The outer form can vary greatly for different natures. Just another good reminder, and we all need reminders, and we know we do. Yeah. Yes, anything at any time, please unmute and share, question, reflect.
Yeah, I have to drop, but I just remembered this phrase as you said that thing that, it is not the work. So Shivan has that very famous, from his poem, the hand that sent Jupiter through the heavens spends all its time, all its cunning to fashion a girl.
Mhm.
It's magical,
Yep, thank you for that
Thank
reminder.
you.
Beautiful. Okay, so if anybody would like to read the next one.
Yeah, I'll read that.
Yes, thank you.
Work can be of two kinds. The work that is a field of experience used for the sadhana, for a progressive harmonization and transformation of the being and its activities, and work that is a realized expression of the divine. But the time for the latter can be only when the realization has been fully brought down into earth consciousness. Till then, all work must be a field of endeavor and a school of experience. I'll read it again. Work can be of two kinds. The work that is a field of experience used for the sadhana, for a progressive harmonization and transformation of the being and its activities, and work that is a realized expression of the divine. But the time for the latter can be only when the realization has been fully brought down into the earth consciousness. Till then, all work must be a field of endeavor and a school of experience. Thank you.
So I think it's very self-explanatory, but just going over the lines, two kind of work. So one is that I'm doing so that I become more harmonized. I transform as a person, as a community, as a collective. So it's basically about my becoming lighter, higher, truer, better, in whatever definition I would want to use these words. And the second is the work that I'm doing is a realized expression of the divine. But he says the time for the latter can only be when the realization has been fully brought down into the earth consciousness. So, as in, by earth consciousness, it can also mean, my material consciousness that is fully transformed, the physical transformation has happened. So then one can do this realized expression of the divine. So, what one is doing would be an expression of the divine. Till then, just knowing that whatever I'm doing is for my own progress, my own harmony, my own transformation. We were that line that was just shared with us. I feel it's not right for us not to go through that poem. I am sure we have all read that, but for the joy and delight of it, let's read that poem together and see the lines again. So, the poem's name is Who by Sri Aurobindo. So if anybody would like to read it, you can unmute and read it slowly and delightfully. Otherwise, I'll go.
Yeah, Taru, you read it. You read it very beautifully.
You do it?
Okay. Who, in the in the blue of the sky, in the green of the forest, whose is the hand that has painted the glow? When the winds were asleep in the womb of ether, who was it roused them and bade them to blow? He is lost in the heart, in the cavern of nature. He is found in the brain where he builds up the thought. In the pattern and bloom of the flowers he is woven. In the luminous net of the stars he is caught. In the strength of a man, in the beauty of a woman, in the laugh of a boy, in the blush of a girl, The hand that sent Jupiter spinning through heaven spends all its cunning to fashion a girl. These are his works and his veils and his shadows. But where is he then? By what name is he known? Is he Brahma or Vishnu, a man or a woman, bodied or bodiless, twin or alone? We have love for a boy who is dark and resplendent. A woman is lord of us, naked and fierce. We have seen him a muse on the snow of the mountains. We have watched him at work in the heart of the spheres. We will tell the whole world of his ways and his cunning. He has rapture of torture and passion and pain. He delights in our sorrow and drives us to weeping, then lures with his joy and his beauty again. All music is only the sound of his laughter, all beauty the smile of his passionate bliss. Our lives are his heartbeats, our rapture the bridal of Radha and Krishna, our love is their kiss. He is strength that is loud in the blare of the trumpets, and he rides in the car and he strikes the spears. He slays without stint and is full of compassion. He wars for the worlds and its ultimate years. In the sweep of the worlds, in the surge of the ages, ineffable, mighty, majestic, and pure. Beyond the last pinnacle, seized by the thinker, he is throned in his seats that forever endure. The master of man and his infinite lover, he is close to our hearts had we vision to see. We are blind with our pride and the pomp of our passions. We are bound in our thoughts where we hold ourselves free. It is He in the Sun who is ageless and deathless, and into the midnight His shadow is thrown. When darkness was blind and engulfed within darkness, He was seated within it, immense and alone.
Yeah, so this is a poem by Sri Aurobindo titled Who. So we know what he's referring to, something very easily understandable, other has symbolisms, and so it's very beautiful. We can read it again in our own time. And this is what Vishalji was talking about, that the hand that sent Jupiter spinning through heaven, the same hand spends all its cunning to fashion a girl. So how we feel that how can I do this or how can I do that, or I'm meant for this and I'm meant for that. These are his works, his veils and his shadows, right? So yeah, very beautiful. Any reflections, any resonances? This part, I think it's just mind blowing, and maybe we have discussed it before, that when darkness was blind and engulfed within darkness, somehow we always associate the divine with sun, with light, with high, with joy, with heaven. But we are told that, as above, so below. If somebody, if something, if some energy is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, how can it be only in light? So when darkness was blind and engulfed within darkness, so many, not so many, but a lot of mystics, before they, I don't know, became a mystic, before when they were on their journey, just before they saw the light, they talk about, an immense darkness. Immense. I think Sister Teresa, she talks about it. Lots of writings are there that just when I thought that that's it, this is the pinnacle of darkness and it can't be anymore. Even in Savitri, I think there's a line similar to that. I don't remember which one it was, that just before that there is this darkness which is so dark. But what do we find when we finally have the courage, the grace, the blessing to enter that darkness? We don't enter it because we are scared. It's too dark. But finally, after so much suffering and too much grace, when we are entering the darkness, what do we find inside it? He was seated within it, immense and alone. That there's no other. Yeah, I think I'll stop here. Anything on this? Otherwise, we can take one more passage and then. Okay. Okay. So we can take this passage and then we'll end. So we must find the self. So anybody wants to read?
Yeah, I'll read.
Thank you.
Yeah. We must find the self, the divine. Then only can we know what is the work the self or the divine demands from us. Until then, our life and action can only be a help or means towards finding the divine, and it ought not to have any other purpose. As we grow in the inner consciousness, or as the spiritual truth of the divine grows in us, our life and action must indeed more and more flow from that, be one with that. But to decide beforehand by our limited mental conceptions what they must be is to hamper the growth of the spiritual truth within. I'll read it again, Taru. We must find the self, the divine, then only we can know what is the work the self or the divine demands from us. Until then, our life and action can only be a help or means towards finding the divine, and it ought not to have any other purpose. As we grow in the inner consciousness, or the spiritual truth of the divine grows in us, our life and action must indeed more and more flow from that. Be one with that. But to decide beforehand by our limited mental conceptions what they must be is to hamper the growth of the spiritual truth within. Sri Aurobindo. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, this is tying up with what you were asking, right? That how do we go wrong, for example. So again, this is it, right? That go with as in there's a flow, right? When you be one with that, you are guided. But if you just decide, okay, I'll do this, then I'll do this, then I'll do that, then I'll do this is where one can go wrong. So Sri Aurobindo starts this by saying we must find the self. So self or divine, he's kind of using it I think interchangeably, we must find the self, the divine. Then only can we know what is the work. The self or the divine demands from us. So we can't just say what to do, not knowing who I am. So how would I know what is expected of me? And this is why, Mother keeps saying again and again, find your psychic being and all your confusions will disappear. So we must find the self, the divine, then only can we know what is the work, the self, or the divine demand from us. Until then, our life and action can only be a help or means towards finding the divine. Whatever we are doing, it's a means towards finding ourselves. This is what the first, earlier passage was also saying. And it ought not to have any other purpose. As we grow in the inner consciousness, or as the spiritual truth of the divine grows in us, our life and action must indeed more and more flow from that. So, as we grow in the inner consciousness, or as the spiritual truth of the divine grow in us, our life and action must indeed more and more flow from that. So, that's why, this stress on being it, becoming it, reflecting it in your life. So, if life is not changing, so what I'm reading, what I am hearing, it's just till an entertainment level. It's not affecting if there's no changes. So our life and action must indeed more and more flow from that, be one with that. But to decide beforehand by our limited mental conceptions what they must be is to hamper the growth of the spiritual truth within. Sure. So there's more, but we'll take that next week. So anything on what we have read today before we end, we can read that. And next week we'll start from self-dedication. So thank you for joining in. So so this section was action and work. I think that's something that is there in our mind all the time. What should I do? How should I do it? Am I doing the right thing? So may these words, these forces in action, guide my way, show me the light towards whatever is the best for everyone. So may all beings find why they are here, find their purpose on earth, and walk towards fulfilling it. Thanking Grace and thanking Divine for this session and for these words of wisdom. Thank you.